How was this music received? Because, as I said, really way ahead of its time, and there weren't other bands sort of pushing the envelope yet. You guys were really setting that tone early. How did the critics receive that music?
I can't remember exactly here and there, but I know in general, like County Records, which is a big bluegrass mail order company, and Bluegrass Unlimited, we're not that pleased with what I was doing. Well, this isn't bluegrass, and it wasn't. To be fair, it wasn't traditional bluegrass. But we have to remember that there were always people pushing the envelope. Bill Monroe was pushing the envelope when he invented bluegrass, and especially Scruggs. That was new. Don Reno was doing some really crazy stuff for the time. Even Pete Seeger was doing some amazing stuff, like in the mid-'50s. And then people like Bill Keith bringing us the melodic style of banjo playing was very progressive. The Osborne brothers are doing modern things. They would play with drums sometimes. The Country Gentlemen were, fairly progressive. I think this was maybe a little more of a leap. It was not as subtle, shall we say. But, there's always been progression in the music.
Yeah, and there were sounds in there. One thing that definitely made it different to me was there are sounds in there, like I mentioned, the saxophone,
right,
that were not present on Country Gentlemen records. I think of the Gentlemen, and they do occupy an important place in the progression of all this. They were sort of one of the first bands to bring songs from other styles into bluegrass, and that was considered by many very progressive step. Again, referencing this Monroe documentary, I remember reading about how Ralph Rinsler, Monroe's manager, hated the Country Gentlemen because they were way too progressive for him at the time.
Right.
And, it's a great segue to what's going on these days in bluegrass, because those bands and your music really planted the seeds for a lot of what's happening today. And it's just unbelievable to see where the music has evolved to. And I'm curious to hear you talk about that evolution a little bit. And did you ever think bluegrass would achieve the heights that it's reaching now, in the sort of Billy Strings, Molly Tuttle era, and all these new bands that are bringing this music to so many new people?
I don't think I ever would have, if someone had said, there's some gentleman who's a really great guitar player, a great singer, and he's going to be filling 18,000 seat arenas, that I would never have believed. And Billy's done that, which is really incredible. And Molly's not at that point in her career yet, but she's definitely on the rise and will get there. And Sierra Farrell also.
Sure.
I think of her in the same thought bubble, even though she's not bluegrass per se, but she's very roots oriented. So yeah, there is this movement, and there are various things that happen, like "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou," which gives a good kick to these things. And someone like Steve Martin, suddenly all these people want to play the banjo because they see Steve Martin doing it. He was doing it in the 70s, but then more recently with the Steep Canyon Rangers and so on and so forth. So yeah, I think bluegrass is in a really healthy place right now.